Good morning, friends. Welcome to Bhau Automation Lab once again. In this online video tutorial, we will see what is XPath. This is the very important concept, guys, while working with a real-time automation project in Selenium. Okay, there are different types of XPath in Selenium, like relative, absolute. We will see all this type of XPath practically here. So you will be able to create your own XPath while working in the real-time projects. So before start with the practical examples, we will start with some understand some theoretical concept about XPath. Okay. While working with the real-time project, okay, what is mean by the XPath? So XPath is in Selenium is an XML path used for a navigation through the HTML structure of the page. Okay. So try to understand, guys. In the Selenium, XPath is a XML path. Okay. Okay, used for the navigate to the element using HTML structure of the web page. Okay, it is a syntax or language for finding an element on a web page using XML path expression. Using XML path expression, we can find an element on a web page. Okay, it's a syntax, and XPath can be used for both HTML and XML documents to find a location of any element on the web page using HTML DOM structure. Okay, so you know DOM structure. In the last lecture, we have seen what is mean by DOM structure and everything. So DOM is document object model, which is while defining any web page, we have some document object model like HTML body tag and everything. Okay, HTML structure, and using that structure, location, we can find a location of any web element on that web page. Okay, so this is the basic syntax of XPath, like a double slash tag name @ attribute is equal to value, and the bracket close. Okay, we will see this concept practically. So here you just understand what is mean by XPath. So XPath is the XML path used to navigate through the HTML structure of the page. Okay. So what is XPath expressions? Okay, so here we have defined like a symbol, like a basic XPath, like a tag, double slash tag name in the bracket, attribute is equal to value. So what is mean by this double slash? What is mean by this tag name? What is mean by this @? What is mean by this attribute? And what is equal to, what is mean by this value? Okay, in the structure, we will express this all the things for in the divided in the different parts, and we'll get all the explanation about what is this double slash tag name and attribute and value. Okay. We are creating XPath day-to-day routine, but we don't know exactly what is use of every tag. So guys, this is the very important concept while creating the XPath. You know what is mean by this double slash, what is mean by this tag name, what is mean by this @ and attributes and value. Okay, and this concept is also important for the interview point of view also. Okay, so what is mean by this double slash in XPath? So XPath, if you define the double slash in XPath, then it selects from the current node. Okay, in the DOM structure, if you define any XPath start with double slash, then it will start that XPath from the current node. So what is mean by that current node? Okay, let's create this example practically on this facebook.com web page. Okay, if I want to create a XPath for this email text box. Okay, so we need to inspect that element, right? So here is the inspector. Here is the element. Okay, so if I create a XPath for this particular element, like a email address text box, then if I define double slash, okay, so double slash means what? It will start the searching for this from that particular node, or it will select that particular node. Means what happen if I define this double slash, then it will select this particular node only. Okay, it will not search for the entire page DOM. Okay, simple concept. It start from that current node only. Okay, and if I define tag name is what? There are different type of tag names here, like here input, here is the from, here is the div, and everything. There are lots of tags, right? Div, inputs, and anything. So we need to define a tag name of that element. Okay, element is here. So what is the tag name of that element? So element tag name is input. The syntax is here double slash tag name. So tag name is the tag name of that particular node. So here is the node and the tag name of that node is input. So we need to write here input. Then it's selecting different because there are lots of input type of tag names here. So it will selecting 6 type of input tags in this particular DOM, right? 6 type of one of the 6. If I click enter here, so it will select entire 6, right? So 6 type of inputs tag names in this particular DOM, right? Now we need to define @ in bracket. We need to define @ means what? Select that attribute which is defined. Okay, so write a bracket in that. We need to write @. We have defined here multiple attributes in this input tag, like type is the one attribute, class is the one second attribute, name is the third attribute, ID is the fourth attribute, place order, data, test ID. All these are the attributes. So we can define any one attribute from this. So if I define here like a type, if I take first attribute only, type is equal to, so we have defined a type attribute. So attribute name of the node. Okay, so this is the name type. This is the, when you define a attribute, so name of that attribute. So name of that attribute is type. Okay, that node attribute name is type. So we have defined a type. Type is equal to, if I define a value of that attribute. So value of this type attribute is text. So if I define here text, and if I close this bracket, then it will select in particular node, right? So what is meant by the double slash? So double slash is starting from this current node. Okay, it will not check for an entire DOM. And what is in this tag name? Tag name is like a node tag. This is the tag names, like type, class, and everything. So tag name is the particular node. The name of that tag name of that particular, sorry, tag name means what? So tag name is input of that, like input, like div and everything, which is defined for that particular node, like input, like div. Here there are multiple tag names like proms and anything. These are all the tag names, right? And define attribute for select that particular attribute. So what is attribute? So attribute is the name of that node. So attribute, we can take any attribute name like a type, class, like a name, ID, or anything. So these are the attributes, and value is equal to value of that particular attribute. So if I take the text, if I want to take a second attribute like a name, so we can define the second attribute like name, and we need to change the name value as email, because type is text but name value is email. Still it's selecting, or still it able to find that particular element from the web page. So this is how the syntax works in XPath, like double slash, that tag name. So this is the double slash, that's tag name, then attribute, then this is the attribute name, then attribute value, this is the attribute value, and we can able to create a XPath. So this is how we can create a simple XPath in Selenium WebDriver. So this is the expression of XPath. Now this is the interview related question. What is different between double slash and single slash in XPath? Okay. So if we define the single slash, what is meant by the single slash? If I create copy the XPath from here, copy full type of XPath, and if I print, we have created this type of XPath. Okay, this is the syntax is a type of relative type of XPath. We have 2 types of XPath in Selenium WebDriver, like the relative and absolute XPath. So this, we are created this as a relative type of XPath. Now if I paste the XPath here, still it's selecting that particular element, right? One of one, right? This is also the XPath, right? But this is the absolute type of XPath. Okay, we will see this difference between absolute and relative XPath difference. So this is the absolute type XPath, which is started with single slash, right? Which is started with single slash. So select the current node. If we define double slash in last example, like here we have a defined double slash. So it's starting from this particular current node, right? But if we define here like the relative absolute type XPath, then it will start with single slash. And when XPath start with single slash, then it select the element from the root node. So what is the root node here? It starts from HTML. So it's defined here like HTML, then second body. So it's a body, then is defined a div. So it's a div, then div2, div1. Okay, here. So if you define this, here you just understand what is the difference between double slash and single slash. So double slash is select current node, and single slash will be select from the root node. Simple. So we will understand the difference between absolute and relative XPath. Then you will get greater idea on this. What is exactly difference between this absolute and relative type of XPath, and what is difference between double slash and single slash, and which type of XPath we need to use on, or which type of XPath we really not a good idea to use in your Selenium scripts. So first type of XPath we will see. Let's see first type of XPath, like absolute type of XPath. Okay, it is a direct way to find the element. Absolute type of XPath. What this is the syntax of absolute type of XPath. Like here we have syntax, example syntax like HTML body div, div1, div2, div2. This is the absolute type of XPath. It is used to direct way to find the element. Direct way means direct. It's travel from the HTML, from the DOM, start with the DOM structure. Okay, and then it will come to the particular element like input tag here, and it's starting from this HTML DOM structure. So it's a direct way to find the element. Okay, so there is a very big advantage while working with the absolute type of XPath. Okay, you in real time scripting, you can't use this type of XPath in your script. If you use this type of XPath in your script, it will be chance your team lead or your manager will reject your script. Because if you write this type of XPath in your Selenium script, then this advantage of this XPath is absolute XPath is that if there are any changes made in the path of the element, then that XPath gets failed. Okay. So what is exactly mean by this? So the meaning is this: if you enter for this XPath, it is highlighting this element, it's finding the element correctly, but it's starting from the root node, right? From the HTML. Okay. And if any changes get live here in this div class, okay, or any changes live get here, or any changes live get here, this XPath will not work. There is directly impacting on this element, because this traveling from the root node, and any middle element get changed, then it will not work because it's starting from root node. So this is the big disadvantage of this absolute type of XPath. The key characteristic of this XPath is that it's begin with a single forward slash, which means you can select the element from the root node. Okay, the key characteristics, it's selecting from the root node. So this is the big disadvantage. If any element gets changed, this XPath will not work in your script. So guys, try to avoid this type of XPath. So this is the absolute XPath. Okay, question here is in interview: what is the difference between absolute XPath and relative XPath? So now we have seen absolute XPath. Let's try to understand now relative type of XPath. So relative type of XPath is the very good structure and good idea to work with Selenium script. Like relative type of XPath start with the middle of HTML DOM structure. It start with the double forward slash, like we have already seen double slash forward slash. It can be search the element anywhere on the web page, means no need to write a long XPath, and you can start from the middle of HTML, right? Here we can define a very big or long XPath. We travel with the front or root node, travel from the root node. Okay, and we need to write a very big type of XPath. But if you define like this type of XPath, relative type of XPath, it's a very short in the short form, and it's starting from the middle of DOM structure. It start from the middle of DOM structure. Okay, so if any changes get changes in here, like in the root node, like here, or in this element, there is no impacting on for this XPath. There is no impact on this XPath. Okay, because it's starting from the middle structure of your DOM. Okay, starting from the current node, from this node. So there is any changes get deployed here, there is no impact on this XPath. This type of XPath will be work fine. Okay, so we need to always preferred for the relative type of XPath. Okay, relative type of XPath is always preferred as it is not a complete path from the root element, right? So it's not a complete path of the root element. It's starting from the middle of the DOM structure. So it will not impact into your if any changes deployed in the upper side, there will no impact on this particular element. So this is the exact difference between relative and absolute type of XPath. So guys, hope you get better idea now on exactly what is the difference between absolute XPath and what is the difference between absolute and relative type of XPath, and which we need to prefer, which we not need to prefer while working with the real-time script. Okay, let's try to create a basic XPath. So XPath expression select the nodes or list nodes on the basis of attributes like ID, name, class name. Okay, we have taken one basic example of XPath already here. Like we have text / input is the tag name, and then we can with the help of XPath expressions select node on the or list of nodes on the basis of attributes. Okay, so here is the what is how many types of attributes for this element: type, class, name, ID. Like here we have defined already like name, ID, so class name, etc. So we have taken example of attribute type. We have taken already example of name. Now we will take the example of ID also. So if I check attribute name as ID, and we have passed here like attribute value like email, ID value email, and if we have some mistake here, email, and please enter. So this is the XPath. This is the basic type of XPath to find the okay. So what is basic XPath? So XPath expression select the node or list of the nodes on the basis of attributes like ID, name, class name. So example / tag name in bracket add that attribute equal to value. So now let's try to understand more concept of XPath. Like in second concept, let's try to understand contains type of XPath. So contains is the method used in XPath extension. It is used when the value of any attribute changes dynamically. Okay, this is the very important method, contains. Because in the real time working in Selenium, there are different wave element which is dynamically change that values. Okay, their values. So we need to change, or we need to use contains type XPath to handle this type of wave elements. Okay, so how to create a contains type of XPath? So syntax is content type XPath is like input contains at the rate attribute takes from text or value from that attribute, right? Or any text from that value attributes. Like here we have defined like a simple ID is equal to email, but if in the next type, if this email ID will get changed dynamically. The attributes here is ID, right? And we have taken the value of that attribute ID is equal to email. But if this values get dynamically changed, first time it's showing like EMA, next time it's showing like EMAI, next time it is showing like EMAL, that type. So we need to handle this type of dynamically changed value using contains type of XPath. So how to create a content type of XPath? So we need to define this attribute here, like we need to define as a in the bracket input contains. Okay, we need to define as the contains, and then in the bracket we need to define as the add the rate. Okay, here we have defined add ID is equal to email. Already defined ID is equal to email. Okay. Contains type of XPath input contains at the rate ID is equal to, we have defined here like a email. ID is equal to what is defined here? Email. Okay, now let's say need to change here. Okay. Now see here, Okay, we have defined like a input at the tag name contains at the IDs comma email. Okay, the full text of that particular attribute, like attribute name is ID is equal to email. We have defined the full text of that ID attribute. But if I change, like if I remove this L from here, if I remove this L from here, still it work, right? If I remove this I from here, still it work, because it's searching the contents, like input contains at that ID is equal to EMA. There is any element on this current DOM which having ID as the attribute, and that value is contains EMA. Okay, so this is the element ID, and this is the tag name of that element is input, and it contains EMA, right? It contains EMA, so it's searching for that particular name. If it's dynamically get changed like EMA or EMI, there is no impact on this type of XPath. So we can create a contains type of XPath with this, through this syntax. So this is the method contains method, which the XPath expression, it is used when value or any attribute value get changed dynamically. So we can find that element using contains type of XPath. Simple. Hope you guys I understand the contains type of XPath. Do it practically by yourself with the different element, like we have taken here contains ID. Next time we can create content like a place. Let's create for XPath for it's searching, right? If I remain with I only, still it's searching. If create a XPath for place order, and I will just write here for email. Okay, the value of this particular place order attribute is email address or phone number, but I am written here like only email, still it's work. If this value get dynamically changed, there is no impact on this XPath. Simple thing. So we can create a dynamic, if there is a value of any attribute gets dynamically changed every time, we can create a context type of XPath here. Simple. So hope you guys understand this is the syntax. Do it practically by yourself only. Again, with 1, 2, 3, 4 more examples, we will get better idea of context type of XPath. Now the interview question here, like what is the difference between tag name, / tag name? Here / and input, it's the tag name, right? And / the star. What is the difference between this? Okay, very important interview question. So when we define / input here, if you define a / input, then it search for particular input types of tag names in the row. Only search for input types of tag names. Like this, if I define here input, all the input types of tag name get selected, right? And if I define a / star, then it will selecting all the tag names from that row, all the tag names, not for input only. It's searching that elements for all the tag name in the row structure. So this is the exact practically difference between / tag name and / star. Okay, guys, very important interview question. Hope you understand this concept clearly now. So let's try to understand more type of XPath, like using OR and AND operator. Okay, this is the conditions. Okay, in OR two condition, one of them should be true. In OR, okay, while working with the Selenium, Java, or any particular programming language, you have already used these conditions in the if conditions, like you can use or AND operations. Okay, so these are the type of operations we need to perform. Like if you define OR in your XPath, then in the two conditions, one of them should be true. Okay, and both should be true, then it still work. If the both conditions is true, then it's work. If one of them is true, still it's work. But in AND, both conditions should be true. Here, not like a one of them. Okay, simple like a programming language. If you define like a syntax here, like attribute text or attribute is equal to text. Okay, which text, like Like type, here we have taken one attribute like a type is equal to text and name is equal to email. Okay, if this one of this condition get false, there is no impact on this XPath. It will still work. Okay, so let's try to create a practical example for or and AND to get a better idea on this concept, like a type of XPath or and using AND conditions. So here I'll create a one already created our content type of XPath. So let's do Control Z here. Okay, or we'll just copy this XPath from here. Let's try to understand with syntax. Okay, so here is the syntax /tab for selecting all the nodes. Here we attributes, we are finding this element, right? So I'll take any one of the attribute here, like I will take a type of X type here. Attribute value is equal to type and text is the value, correct? And next attribute value we can take as a name, and the name of that text is equal to email. Right, it's working, it's finding the correct element. What is the condition here, guys? So condition here is one of them should be true, right? One of the condition should be true from this particular two conditions. Like here we have two conditions passed, right? Type is equal to text, it's correct. Name is equal to email, it's also correct. If I do one condition wrong, like if I remove here email from here, and if I define like e only here, still it's working because this one condition is satisfied. Okay, this one condition is true. If both conditions wrong, then it's not work. Okay, so one condition is true, still it works. Right, and both conditions are true, then also it's work. There is no issue. So when you using or in your XPath, then both conditions should be true, it's work, or one of them should be true, then it still work. Like this. /* to select all the tag names. @type is equal to text and or @name is equal to email. Simple. But if you use like AND operator here, simple. I'll just remove this or type AND. Here both conditions are satisfied, right? Both conditions are true. Like type is equal to text is correct and name is equal to email is also correct. It's working fine. But if I do one condition wrong here, it will not work. Simple. When you use AND, there should be both conditions should be true. Then it's working. Okay. When you use this type of XPath, if you have a idea or clearly knows about that the element will not get changed, then we can use this type of XPath like AND or operator. Mostly AND operator. But if you have you know that one can be get changed, but one cannot be changed, or both conditions like one element get changed, but one element can't get changed. If this get changed, there is no impact. It's working. If this element get changed, value get changed, and there will be no impact. This element will not change. So that time we have to use or type of operator. But if you idea about or we have strictly know that both element both attributes and value will not get changed, then we can use AND type of operator or AND type of XPath using AND operator. Okay. Now let's try to understand XPath access methods. Okay, this is also part of type of XPath. In XPath access method, these XPath access methods are used to find the complex and dynamic type of elements. Okay, it's very commonly used. Okay, let's try to understand first XPath using following XPath access method. Okay, following XPath access method, it select all the elements in the document of the current node, all the elements. Okay, if the requirement here is if I want to click all the links of that web page, okay, one by one, if I want to click, I need to click on all the links on this web page, then it is not a good idea to write a XPath for the every element one by one. right? Every element. So for this type of requirement, we need to create a XPath using the following, okay, or this X methods like following or following siblings. Like through the following or following siblings, following method, we can select all the elements in the document of the current one. Okay, how to select that element? So let's see this practically. If I want to click all the elements one by one, if I want to select all the elements one by one, and then if I want to click every element one by one, so we can write a simple list. We can store that elements in the simple list, and we can write a simple for loop and click on all the elements one by one. Okay, but so to select all the elements, we need to write a following type of XPath first, right? So let's try to understand and create a following type of XPath practically first. So here we have already created XPath using and or operator, right? So I'll just removing this XPath and I'll create a following type of XPath here. So if I write here / following, okay, following / the syntax is here is / following and double colon, and we need to define here a tag name. Like if I define tag name like A, it will highlighting first element, right? This is the first element of 46 element. So if I click here, we can see here this XPath is highlighting one by one all the elements, right? Automatically. So simply it will select all the elements in the document from the current node. So it will highlighting all the elements. So simply we can write this type of XPath in the single list, and we can write a simple for loop, and we can create and click on this all the elements one by one. So requirement fulfilled. So this type of complex type of XPath we can create using this following X types of methods, X types of method. So this is the first concept using following. We can just change here tag name as per your convenient. You can change here the type and anything as per your convenient, and we can create a XPath using following method. Okay, hope you guys understand. Now let's understand next concept from the access method, like following sibling. Okay, when we use the following sibling method, then select the following siblings of the context node. Okay, siblings are at the same level, and it will be find the element after the current node. If there are the same siblings on the same level siblings, like here, if you take the example of practical example of this, like here we can see the two tag names like input type is equal to hidden. Okay, so these are the same level siblings, like input type. Okay, and it will find the element after the current node. If we write the XPath for this, it will select this one. Okay, because element after the current node. So let's try to create a XPath for this element input type, and let's check it will find the next element or not. Okay, so we need to write here following sibling. Okay, from this here. So syntax here is following sibling dash sibling. Okay, sibling, and the tag name of this particular element is input. So we need to write here input. Okay, so to find this, type is equal to not text, with the type is equal to hidden. Okay, type is equal to hidden. Sibling. Okay, try to understand sibling. Spell mistakes here, right? So if the correct spell, now if I highlighted this, okay, there is a two same sibling types of elements here, like input type is equal to hidden, and if I write XPath for this element like input type hidden, it is selecting next element, like okay, it will be find the element after the current node. So current node is this input type hidden, but it's selecting next element from that current node after element of it. So if we have a sibling, multiple type of siblings, and we want to create click on the next element of the current node, then we can create this type of following sibling type of XPath in Selenium WebDriver to click on next element. Okay, here showing one of three XPaths. Okay, so hope you guys understand this concept related to XPath SX methods. Okay, you have to create your own XPath. Just practice more type of XPath for sibling, following sibling, and using and or operator, using content type, using text. Okay, hope you guys understand everything about XPath. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this channel. Okay, let's meet in more interesting and a new topic from the Selenium WebDriver in next chapter. Till time, have a great day. Bye bye.